Your diesel engine has one component that runs harder than anything else under the bonnet. It spins at up to 240,000 revolutions per minute, 4,000 rotations every single second. The only thing keeping it alive is a film of engine oil thinner than a human hair. That component is your turbocharger. And according to Garrett, one of the world's largest turbo manufacturers, more than 90% of all turbo failures are not caused by a faulty part. They are caused by something the owner did or failed to do. Most people treat the turbo as just another engine part. Change the oil occasionally, drive normally, and hope for the best. Japanese diesel owners approach it differently. They understand what the turbo actually needs to survive, and they build a few specific habits into their routine that most owners never think about. The result is turbos that regularly reach 400,000 to 500,000 kilometers without replacement. Here is exactly what they do and why it works. There are three things that kill a turbo before it's time: oil starvation at startup, oil coking from hot shutdowns, and carbon buildup in the vanes of variable geometry turbos. Every habit in this method targets one of those three. When you turn the key in the morning, your engine fires within a second or two. At that exact moment, the turbo is already trying to spin. But oil sits in the sump overnight. The passages leading to the turbo bearing are dry. It takes several seconds for oil pressure to build and for that lubricating film to reach the bearing. During those first seconds, the shaft is spinning with little to no protection. Metal is contacting metal. This is called dry start damage. It does not destroy the turbo in one start. It removes microscopic layers of material from the bearing surface every single morning, over months and years, until the clearances have widened enough that the shaft wobbles, the seals fail, and oil begins burning in the exhaust. The fix is simple. Turn the key to the on position and wait 2 to 3 seconds before cranking. Once running, allow the engine to idle for 60 to 90 seconds before driving away. At idle, the turbo spins at low speed while oil circulates and reaches the bearings. You are pre-lubricating the system before asking it to work hard. In cold weather below 5 degrees Celsius or 41 degrees Fahrenheit, extend that idle to 2 full minutes. Cold oil is thicker and takes longer to flow through narrow passages. Asking the turbo to boost a cold engine before oil has properly circulated is one of the most reliable ways to shorten its life. The second killer happens at the other end of the drive. After a highway run or any sustained load, turbine housing temperatures can exceed 700 degrees Celsius or 1,300 degrees Fahrenheit. The moment you switch the engine off, the oil pump stops. The coolant pump stops, but the heat does not stop. It soaks backwards from the turbine housing into the center section where the bearing sits. The oil trapped there has no fresh supply flowing through to carry the heat away. At high enough temperatures, it carbonizes, turning into a hard, abrasive deposit that coats the bearing and blocks the oil passages. This is called oil coking, and it causes exactly the same damage as running low on oil. The fix is a 2-minute cool-down idle before shutdown after any highway drive or loaded run. During those 2 minutes, exhaust temperatures drop. Fresh oil continues circulating through the bearing, and the heat dissipates safely. After a short, slow trip around town, you do not need to bother. But after any sustained hard run, 2 minutes cost nothing and adds years to the turbo's life. The third killer affects most modern diesels specifically and is widely misunderstood. Most diesel cars and SUVs built in the last 15 years use a variable geometry turbocharger, or VGT. Instead of a fixed turbine housing, a VGT has movable vanes that adjust their angle to control how exhaust gas hits the turbine wheel. At low RPM, they close down to reduce turbo lag. At high RPM, they open up to allow full flow. It is an efficient system with one specific weakness. The vanes move inside a hot, soot-filled environment. When a diesel does a lot of short trips or low-load city driving, exhaust temperatures stay low and combustion is incomplete. Carbon deposits accumulate on the vane surfaces over time. The vanes begin to stick. Eventually, they stop moving entirely. Vanes frozen in the closed position cause dangerous exhaust back pressure. Vanes frozen open kill your low-end power. Either way, the turbo needs to come out. The solution is a highway clean every 2 to 3 weeks. Take the car onto an open road, bring it to full operating temperature, then accelerate firmly and hold it between 2,500 and 3,000. 500 revolutions per minute for 10 to 15 minutes of sustained driving. The elevated exhaust temperature burns carbon off the vanes and exercises them through their full range of movement. Think of it as a regeneration cycle for the turbo, the same principle as a DPF regeneration. Also, keep your EGR system in good health. When the EGR valve begins to stick or the cooler degrades, it sends excess soot back through the intake directly into the turbo. A poorly maintained EGR accelerates VGT carbon buildup significantly. If your EGR valve has not been inspected in 80,000 kilometers or 50,000 miles, it is worth having it checked. Now, the one maintenance item that matters more than anything else on this list: engine oil. The turbo bearing runs on a film of oil thinner than a human hair at 240,000 revolutions per minute. If the oil is old or the wrong specification, that film becomes thinner and less stable. Degraded oil carries carbon particles suspended in it. At turbo speeds, those particles act as an abrasive, widening the bearing clearances over time. Once the clearances open up enough, the shaft wobbles, the seals fail, and the turbo is finished. Use a full synthetic oil that meets your manufacturer's specification, paying attention to the ACEA rating. For turbocharged diesels, this determines the oil's resistance to soot thickening and high-temperature deposit formation. And do not follow the maximum service interval. Change oil every 8,000 to 10,500 kilometers or 5,000 to 6,500 miles. Modern diesels often show service intervals of 20,000 to 30,000 kilometers. Those figures are calculated for ideal conditions and do not account for short-trip driving, cold climates, or towing. Shorter oil changes are cheap. Turbo replacements typically cost between $1,000 and $3,000 before labor. One final habit that costs nothing and is almost universally ignored: check your air filter and intake hose. The turbo compressor wheel spins fast enough that a single grain of sand or small fragment of debris can chip a blade. A chipped blade unbalances the wheel instantly. An unbalanced wheel at these speeds destroys the bearing within minutes. Check the air filter every 15,000 kilometers or 9,000 miles and replace it every 30,000 kilometers or 18,000 miles, sooner in dusty or unpaved conditions. Each time you change the oil, also inspect the intake hose between the air filter housing and the turbo inlet. Look for cracks, splits, or loose clamps. A cracked intake hose allows unfiltered air to bypass the filter entirely, sending grit directly into the turbo. These cracks are common on older vehicles because the hose sits close to hot engine components. They are cheap to fix. A new turbo is not. The full method comes down to 5 habits. Idle at cold start for 60 to 90 seconds. 2 minutes cool down before shutdown after hard driving. A highway clean every few weeks to keep VGT vanes free. Full synthetic oil changed at 5,000 to 6,500 mile intervals. Air filter and intake hose checks on schedule. The difference between a turbo that fails at 150,000 kilometers and one that reaches 500,000 is almost always maintenance discipline. Not luck, and not which brand of car you drive. Build these habits now, and the turbo will take care of everything else.